Good day, everyone, and this is our seventh episode with Diana Ideus, my MCC coach from Houghton Union. She's coming in from Houghton Union in California, Los Angeles. And actually, Diana is this is the second coaching session she's doing live with me, and this is the seventh episode in our series of episodes that we started 2 months ago. And it was really an evolutionary period for me, actually, having these money conversations and understanding what does it mean having a healthy relationship with money. So thank you, Diana, and welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So actually today it's you coaching me. So in a way, I had many topics that I'm having in my mind. I may have actually presented one of them to you before the session, and it will take a lot of courage from me to actually expose this on air, But in a way, it's what's in the moment, so I will just have to go with it.
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And perhaps to kind of warm it up, and just for those who maybe didn't see the last episode, or since we've all slept since the last episode, what's come up for you, even takeaways since our last session?
Well, I would tell something. It was not only the session, Diana. Since we started this conversation, I was really, what they call it, ignorant when it comes to, or illiterate when it comes to a healthy relationship with money. And each and every episode that we had together in these conversations, were actually adding to me some, elimination. Well, what, what? So I was in a process of self-discovery, and I saw how this is reflecting in my personal relationships and in my work. And I can tell that it was very illuminative and very actually reflective for me. And it happened at the same time that we had this strategic objective of having a financial coaching program in the organization. And actually, I was actually leading the coordination of the research and the development of the program and the benchmarks of how the learning experience will be. And during this process of the, certifying this program from ICF, choosing the facilitator, the R&D process, I did not do it, but I was just, a receiver of it. So in a way, it's opened my eyes into many areas that I need to work on personally to be a better leader when it comes to handling finances and having a healthy relationship with money. Maybe some flickering signals came up, during our conversations when I was asking about the nature of the service industry and the philanthropy, and the stuff, and a healthy relationship with money. Like, I love it, making me love money making and love, actually having a sustainable revenue for my business. So in a way, this is where I want to actually start. Yeah. So.
Okay. What would it be like if you had a healthy relationship with money and money making?
It's not about me. It's about who do I attract. I found out that most of the people around me, they don't enjoy the business for the money making part. They are real philanthropists, and actually the values of when it comes to money, they don't have any value there, or they don't actually show that this is where they are searching for their financial security and sustainability.
So it's not about you, it's always about us.
Yeah, it's so yeah. So in a way, I found that I'm not really attractive to those who love money making.
It sounds like you feel like you need to be.
Yes. Okay. This is a new revelation. Yes.
Okay.
Because actually for the sales, for the business development, I need somebody who really loves achieving goals and putting financial targets, having some profitability, not giving in when it comes to negotiating, prices or something like this, So he needs to have a healthy relationship with money. It doesn't just give out service because of the philanthropy or the value or the impact, This will happen besides this, we need to balance between both,
Okay. So what do you want to take away from today's session?
I would like to actually add to my leadership style, or actually be open and understand what is it to attract people who actually really love money making, besides actually loving our nature of business and the philanthropic part that we are having.
Okay. So you're hoping to figure out what it is in your leadership that will attract people that will help build and grow your business and have a positive relationship with money.
Yes, because actually in a way, when I'm looking at, you know, the nature or the values of people that I attract, when I approach people who really love money making, they don't take me seriously, you know. They see that we are seasonal, revenue generating business, you know, like, you know, that coaching industry, learning and development. In a way, it is perceived to be, in a way, seasonal, you know, when it comes, there are high seasons and there are low seasons in the year. So it doesn't make a lot of profit. So in a way, there is always you know, perceptions that we are in a philanthropic, you know, mission. So we are not money makers. So we are not the place where people who like to make money and secure their, you know, income and their salary increases. It's not a place they want to be, you know, especially for the supporting services like business development, like, you know, like financial accounting or financial consulting, you know, in a way that, you know, you don't really attract top calibers from the market.
Okay. What's your ideal? Like, if you had your ideal, what would that look like?
My ideal, I would actually compete on the top account manager in the market to work with businesses like the oil field, like, you know, IT, business developer, account managers. They will actually look at me like, you know, we're a place that they would love to join if they had the opportunity to. My ideal to be, and you know, and here they will have achieved all their dreams when it comes to their own personal financial targets, and they will still do what they do in building new accounts, building new relationships, and selling a product of value, you know, putting in some multi-million dollar, you know, or multi-million agreements or deals, putting, you know, achieving high scores, you know, and in their dashboard, you know. I like to build healthy relationships with those, and I want actually to have this my business to be in this place.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a strong mission drive, there's a performance, and then there's also the relationships with money, but also the relationships with each other.
Yes.
Is there something I missed?
Yes, the relationship with actually putting high sustainable and achievable financial targets.
Okay. So you mentioned your leadership. So what comes up for you as you think about your leadership and attracting these people?
Yes, it was a couple of messages that came to me in the last few weeks that I may not be perceived as a high money making person or leader. So in a way, if they are looking for a secure place where they can actually achieve their financial targets, they will not search for a job with me. So they may actually. So this is where actually the challenge, you know, that I'm having, that I may be putting in there is a signal that I'm sending, something that I'm putting in the space, something that's maybe perceived in a way that doesn't make high achieving money makers want to associate themselves with me. They will search for jobs elsewhere or something like this. And this is something I don't want to keep like this. I don't want to maintain, you know, this image in a way. I have to work on myself in something to make this actually shift.
You have a sense of what that thing is?
Besides really putting for myself healthy targets and healthy sustainable achievement, you know, when it comes to money making, I may actually be missing something. I need to really dig in more deeper. I'm just, is it about the branding? Is it about the market perception? Is it about maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm just. I'm in a reflective space. I don't really. At this moment, I don't have it.
Yeah, and that's okay, right? That's what coaching is for. You know,
Yeah.
on the edge of awareness, and it can be challenging and sometimes uncomfortable. I wonder, since this is something you're trying to transfer as a belief to others, I wonder how true it feels for you. Because a lot of times coaches build their coaching practices to benefit people, and the money is considered secondary, or in our past discussions, the money is considered dirty, or shameful. So the money has its own kind of attachments that we have to work on. So I think that, I'm seeing an aspirational belief of, hey, here's what the business could be. But I don't know if you're buying what you're selling just yet. I think you want to buy this, but I don't
Well,
know if you're buying it yet.
it's not about buying it, it's about being there.
Okay. And what's
Actually, I
been,
already
I mean,
mentally it's understood. Here, my heart, I know I'm still. There is a lot to work on to achieve that. Because I started actually having these conversations with my financial consultant. Putting strategic objectives for the organization to sustain, the revenues, revamping, the products and services, and the last performance will not be an indicator to the next performance, because the last performance was associated with all the beliefs that we talked about before. Previous performance that we had, it was really a secondary outcome of the service and the impact that I'm doing. But the next era with this transformation, I guess it will not be the same. And I'm looking at it from a global perspective, not only from a local perspective. However, I have to succeed locally also. So in
sure.
a way, yeah. So in a way, I'm both working on, I'm putting it now as a primary target. I'm putting more energy in actually the business aspect to the revenue generating, connecting with actually the working with. I'm adjusting this healthy relationship with money, but in a way, I know that I'm not yet there, in the heart, and the heart of the business is still shifting. People who used to work for me before and know that the previous energy that we had and the previous dynamics that was built on the previous leadership, they are not comprehending the new requirements that I'm putting. I'm still shifting and transforming, their beliefs and their understanding of what we do and how we do it, and this is still, a tough ride. I know that because I want to keep up on my on my operational and educational part. This philanthropic energy, this philanthropy, it's really still needed, but we need to associate it with sustainable revenue generating business development, and business that really attracts top calibers from the market.
There's a seriousness to you here. So just reflecting tone, right? Because one of the things that we do as coaches is tone and body language. There's a seriousness to you when you talk about this. And I feel and I see the tension for you. And it's understandable, because talking about business sustainability and financial growth is a serious thing. But in the last session, there was a light bulb that came on for you when you started talking about new business and being able to generate that excitement. And this is missing when you talk about attracting people who have a strong relationship with money and want to be money making. So some of the passion that you have for the work that you do is not necessarily translating into when you start looking at and thinking about the money. And that may be part of it, because we do, some of it's energetic, right? And what we put out there and what we are able to sell and what we're able to attract. And you normally have such charisma and presence and are able to draw people in with your passion. But when it comes to money and talking about money, and this is very normal, there's a way that it's kind of like, no, we're serious and we're focused. So I don't know that you're attracting what you're looking for. And there you go. See, you're smiling now, and you weren't smiling before.
Yeah, because it's not yet here and at ease.
That's okay. It's
That's why I'm
new.
feeling tension. It's so that's the
It's
newness.
new. So I think the thing is that even as you talk about, like, what do I need to change as a leader? Some of it needs to be, you have a kind of, okay, thinking caps on, serious, no smiling. We're talking about money now, right? Yeah, no smiling, no smiling. So, I think, and I understand, because, so much of this, this is oftentimes rooted in our families and our histories and our communities. And often makes a difference between why people smile and why people don't. So I am not making light of this as an issue, but I think as you are building your business and you think about your leadership, the natural passion that you draw people to you with is some of what you're looking for when you look at these kind of money makers, because they're going to want to see that.
Hmm. So to see that, I guess I need to achieve results, and to achieve results, I have to reflect in numbers. Show off in the markets, build some success stories even without them. Actually, just to see that I'm as a leader, I'm capable, I'm competent. I know this business, this thing is serious, and it's picking up.
Well, and some of what you're doing it right now. Some of it is just even being able to show the vulnerability of like, hey, this isn't here yet, and I'm working on it. Because so often what you're talking about is bringing people into a business that's already built, that's a sure thing. But as you grow your business, there's often an aspect of you need people who believe in the mission and are willing to grow it with you, and someone who's willing to do, depending on how established you are, whether it's ground up or that's, if you think about people who are going to sell and negotiate deals, they have to be people who see possibility. And you're really good at seeing possibility, just less so with the financial aspects. So I think what you're looking for is, you're such a, just even from our last session, you love those new products. You love being ahead of the market, right? Like there it is. Like there's your smile. So, taking that passion you have and partnering with someone who can see the opportunities that you see, or can help you price those opportunities. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, I think the hard thing about money is like, it's not promised, it's not guaranteed. Even with people who have full-time jobs, businesses don't necessarily, businesses have layoffs and go out of business. So it sounds like you need someone that's open to the possibility, but in order to really kind of attract that and be able to make that sale yourself to that person, I think you need to be careful, at least in your beginning stages, how much you're focused on the revenue, because it has a tendency still to kind of shut you down.
Okay. So I guess that this is a very useful, useful, what they call it, advice. I guess it's a very useful actually observation. Yani I really love how you articulate it, and actually the putting this role with someone who really understands that, and partnering with someone like this. But what I'm really afraid of, that when I'm vulnerable and I'm still learning, sometimes you get people on the same level that you are in a way, even though they may be having this value of pricing, or this value of putting business ahead, or revenue generating, or this stuff. But you sometimes doubt that you get someone who's really more conscious, or what they call it, or who will actually lead their area. And actually, when I'm looking at the image, and this is something I'm sharing with one of my new partners, that I'm looking at, I want to have this, like, pride of lions, that's we are covering, that's we're in a pride, and actually we are actually having this kind of, completing each other, and actually collaborating with each other, and each one of us is actually covering their area with, like a tough alpha.
Mhm.
So I want to have this done with alphas. I want alphas to surround me, and this is something. I'm having alphas in the educational aspect, but they're very philanthropic, in a way. We have this philanthropy, it's really high when it comes to them. But when I'm talking about, the financial and the business part, I'm not attracting these alphas. I want actually to be in a place where I can actually attract alphas around me. So this is this is actually what I'm really. It has to be. I have to share vulnerability. I agree, yes, but who to do this with without exposing your business, or
Mhm.
actually putting yourself in a place where people don't like to do business with you? That's a very tough question, and a very tough ride, because actually, it's this balance. um, you really don't know who to trust at this point.
Mm. So then it comes down to trust,
Yes.
right? And that's essential. That's essential in relationships. It's essential with money. Like that comes to the root. So that's often what happens is like, oh, it feels like it's about the money, but it's actually about the trust. It's actually about the communication. And I think one of the things, as you mentioned, like the pride of lions, but then also the alphas, one of the things to think about is that if you have a group of alphas, they're not necessarily a cohesive team. They're not necessarily working together as a team. And there's advantages to that. There's advantages to that, and there's disadvantages to that. Whereas if you have people working together as a team, you have different strengths and things like that, but you may not have as much of the kind of all stars that you're wanting with the alphas. So I think those images strike different chords for me, and because it's your session, it doesn't matter what those images mean to me. It matters what it means to you. But that's something to think about as you think about who you're seeking. Are you looking for a team that can kind of come together and come together in these different ways, or are you really looking for kind of individual contributors or those alphas? Maybe it's not a mutually exclusive thing. I'm also hearing some kind of, they're philanthropic, so there is no kind of like almost like financial literacy or desire for financial gain. But as we talked about in a previous episode, no margin, no mission is from a nun. And actually, I spoke to a nun yesterday. And when people ask her for projects in the community, the first thing she says is, show me the money, because she needs the seed money. She's done such tremendous work in this community. But I love straight from a nun.
Yeah.
She's like, show me the money. Where's the money? Because it is part of the project. So I think the thing is that a lot of what happens with money is it carries its own stress and we have our own relationships with it. But perhaps if you look at it as, how do I create the team to grow my business? How do I create the team to have the marketplace presence that we want? And you think about the resources that those people need to have. Sometimes that's money related, sometimes it's not. Because if you're high trust and you have high communication, I think as you set targets or goals for people, you want them to be motivated. Salespeople are likely, may or may not be more financially incentivized, but a lot of times it comes down to who they work with. Just someone, they've done studies, and at least in the US, that a lot of times people are focused on compensation and they talk about compensation, but it's often because it's recognition, and it's, does someone in the workplace care about me? Does my manager care about me? So it does. I'm not saying the money doesn't matter. These are money conversations, but the money often is a symbol of these deeper things. So that was a lot. So I'm curious kind of what's coming up for you now.
What's coming in for me, it's maybe I may need to actually go back to my team and talk to them, because actually I trust them, and relook, you know, what kind of internal conversations we need to maintain to build trust around, that we are all, this no margin. Yeah, I'm really inspired by this, Nan, that you brought, no margin, no mission, so in a way we need to have this like in a healthy way that doesn't scare the, I'm sorry for for my language, scare the shit out of them. I'm sorry for that, because actually in a way it's scary for them when we talk about,
Of course it
sometimes
is.
they just, they avert from it in a way, and actually, they just, feel uncomfortable. And some of them actually, the last times that we had these conversations, they just, searched for other businesses, or other things to do, to buffer, their risk, staying with us. And previous, episodes that we had of, unsustainable revenue that happened before. So in a way, instead of, bragging about that this is a cyclic business or maybe a seasonal business, putting the sustainability and putting into our core conversations and discussions, our role to create the margins that will actually keep our mission alive. So in a way, this is our trees, and this is our, this is our, and this is our mission, and we need actually to maintain it by putting, the cultivating it by actually putting in, it's the necessary resources to keep it ongoing and nourishing and flourishing and nurturing. So in a way, we need to really put our efforts as a team, and maybe this ambiguity, or this what you call it, this seriousness that I'm getting, because of the newness of the thing, we may feel comfortable together working it out, instead of me feeling alone in it and searching for other people to maybe introduce themselves as experts in this or that, or actually on the other side of the spectrum. So maybe we overall we move, and then we will find, by time, people who will actually get attracted to us, and actually we are walking the talk, and we are really doing big business with alphas,
Yeah.
who would like to join the pride. This is a pride we want to be in.
Yeah. Good. How does that feel?
It feels a little bit more comfortable than the fact that I'm searching for alphas to join in the pride. So I'm already in a pride, but this pride needs to actually look for another place in the savannah. Yeah, so in a way, we need to shift our gears, or shift our place to actually to a place where we can find this, the resources that will make us actually nurture. And we need to relocate our pride to a place where we may have some conflicts, we may have our own struggles there, to survive with the pride. But it's in a way, it may take us to a next level.
Yeah, good. And I
Yeah.
think grounding in the mission is important. That's my team is not motivated by money. They care about the work. They care about the work, and they want to do the work, and they still, most of them still kind of marvel that they get paid for this work, So it's amazing. But for me as the leader, I want to make sure that I have the financial backing to support them if they need it. And when COVID hit, I didn't have that backing, and some of them could have potentially used that support. So for me, when we think about resource allocation, for some people, they really need to build trust. Other people really need to build communication. You as a coaching provider and as coaches, you're likely heavy on trust and communication. So the resource that you're potentially looking to build are more on the financial side. But, and of course, there's emotions that come with that. But I think as you think about I call it the orchard, as you think about your orchard, or you think about your agriculture, or if it's your lions, it's looking at how are you going to work together? It doesn't mean that everyone has to have the same level of involvement. You don't necessarily need someone who talks as freely and openly about money as I am, right? This is a niche for me, so this is not hey, your business should look like this. It's just it's a possibility to explore as you grow yourself as a leader, and also as you grow your business. And I think that's part of why I talk about money so often, is because it's ways that I think as leaders can often grow, and sometimes don't have that safe space to grow. And it does impact the success of our businesses.
Mm-hmm. So that's how we are articulating it is really amazing. And I just need to reflect on the kind of conversations we're having, the culture, the desired culture we want to actually build internally. And in a way, I have to build trust and be vulnerable, and be selective more about who to discuss with such issues, and who are the alphas I really want to have joining in this pride.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when things will happen, magic will happen. I believe that this is, yeah. So these are very, very interesting 3 steps to actually start putting in focus. But I know they will take time, and this is, it will depend on the stamina of myself and the team. And this is, and actually what I call actually what the God's hands, and how it plays a role in making this, facilitating this to happen, and putting in my way the right alphas, and supporting our mission, into a better, to take a better place. So
Mm-hmm. Good. And I would say, just a theme in this session and the last session. And thank you so much for sharing yourself, sharing yourself with me. And then also in a recording is be mindful of if and when you feel bogged down and you don't have your joy and your passion, that there's a way that, for you, I think levity and passion and excitement is part of your business. It's part of who you are and part of your business. Our businesses should look like us. Our leadership should look like us. So as you look at these financial aspects, I appreciate the seriousness you're taking on financial literacy and wanting to make improvements, but also make sure it still feels like you and it still fits, because that's ultimately what we're looking at. We're looking at what does this look like for you, not just to make money, but to make money sustainably. And if this was a seasonal business, how do you make enough in that season that you maybe even don't need the next season?
Yeah.
Right? So there's so many, we've talked about this from the Enneagram. I think you're so good at looking at the abundance of possibility. So we're just also looking at the abundance of financial possibility as well.
I need to, this is a new lens I'm trying to really start using, because I know that, people who have my personal, my personality type, or maybe having, they can be very excellent money makers, they're good, very good actually at sales, and I know I'm good at sales. I'm very good at sales.
There
So,
you go.
and this is something that I didn't find in myself until maybe 2 or 3 years back. Before that, I thought that I was very lousy at sales, and now I know I'm good at sales.
There you
but
go. Okay,
yeah,
so 2 to 3 years, we'll circle back. Coaching
yeah.
session number 3. Yeah. Excellent.
So yeah, so so I really thank you, Diana, for this amazing
Yes.
session. I really love it. I really loved it, and actually, it was very beneficial for me. Actually, how to look at things, and actually, this as a season finale,
Mm-hmm.
for this season, and then the next season will start in the next year. But I'm not sure. Will it be money conversations also, or will it be something else? What would you like
We'll
to
see.
start?
We'll see what happens.
So let's see what happens, because I really
Yes.
enjoyed the conversation with you, and thank you for this
Thank
live
you.
coaching session. Yeah,
Thank
and
you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing yourself with me and then also with your network. And thank you so much for having me.
you're welcome. Thank you,
Yes.
Diana. Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Happy holidays.
it. Happy holidays. Okay, bye.